Hi there, and welcome to today's Extreme Grocery Budget Challenge. With some careful planning, I hope to feed my family 60 meals this week with a budget of only $15. So let's get started. Okay, here's the salsa that I discovered. It's very good. It's only $1.18. And what's really interesting is look at this. Same brand, Casa Mamita. It's a smaller bottle, and it's $1.79. So you actually save money by getting the larger bottle, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So Aldi has 10-pound bags of potatoes for $1.99. That's a great deal. So I'm going to switch up my budget right now and see if I can squeeze these in somehow, because they are filling. I planned on spending 89 cents a pound on chicken on sale, and I found it here at Aldi for 79 cents a pound. So if I can find one cheap enough, I'll actually be able to save money and be able to make up for the potatoes. And here's one actually at $3.18. So that puts me at 30 cents under the budget on the chicken. So I could have sworn that the dollar store had peanut butter, but it doesn't look like they do, and I'm afraid if I get the small package that it's not going to last. So I think I'm going to have to switch it up a little bit. I think I'm going to get some sandwich meat for the sandwiches. I'm trying to decide between bologna or salami. So I'm not sure which one to get, but I think there's a little bit more in this bar S. It's thicker and it weighs more, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get that. Okay, so it doesn't look like they have any great value small packages of biscuits. So I think I'm going to have to go ahead and go with the Pillsbury for $1 for my breakfast biscuits. And like I said, there's 5 in them, so we should be able to make 5 breakfast sandwiches. Hey guys, so here's what I got today. I spent $15, and I did still need some vegetable bouillon. They were out at Walmart. It was 77 cents. But I did have some in the cabinet, which I'm assuming you would probably have some bouillon with your staples. But if not, you need to add 77 cents on. So that's going to put you at about 16 bucks for all of this. The biggest deal that I got were these russet potatoes. They were 10 pounds for $1.99, and that's going to make a ton of food. In fact, it's probably going to last into next week even. It's quite a bit of food. And then the chicken is going to work in 2 different dishes that I'm making. Probably going to make some fried chicken along with some chicken with rice. My receipts total $15.61. Unfortunately, I did purchase 2 salsas at Aldi. I meant to put one on a different receipt, but if you're looking at the receipts, you can just subtract that one out of there. We did spend $15.61 on this challenge. So I got this crown of broccoli for 75 cents at Aldi. I'm going to cut off the stalks and use that in a soup, and I'll use the crown for egg fried rice as well as a side on my fried chicken. Okay, let's make some fried chicken. We're going to cut up the chicken from the fresh chicken that we bought. We'll use the body for baked chicken later in the week. Add garlic salt, onion powder, salt, pepper, paprika, and anything that you like. We're just going to use this to season our chicken, so pretty much anything that you enjoy the flavor of on your chicken, you want to add in. Probably enough salt with the garlic salt. I'll just put a little bit more. I'm going to use this to season my chicken. Just shake it in this before I put it in the egg wash, and then I'll dip it in flour before I fry it. about 1/4 of a cup of water. Okay, I've measured out 4 cups of rice, and I'm going to go ahead and rinse it. I'm going to put 4.5 cups of water. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of bouillon for flavoring, and when the rice is finished cooking, we'll put it in the fridge for our dishes later in the week. So with our supplies for lunches, we were able to make 7 bologna sandwiches with a side of banana. Now we're going to make our breakfast biscuits. So we'll start with putting the biscuits in the oven, and then we'll move on to frying the eggs. Hey guys, if you liked the video so far, do me a favor, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and you'll be notified when I have new content. That's about right. This makes 5 breakfast sandwiches. If you do have a hungry group, go ahead and make some hash browns to go along with it, but this was plenty for us. Okay, I always trim my eggs around the biscuit to make them nice and neat, but I know some people like them to be overflowing with the biscuit, so maybe I'm doing this wrong. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, these were so good, and make sure when you buy the biscuits, you buy the biscuits that are the better flavor, but it was super delicious. Okay, here are the ingredients we need for our vegetable soup. And I'm going to end up adding 8 cups of water and 2 bouillon cubes. I've got some potatoes cut up, and I've got the broccoli stalks I'm going to add in later, about halfway through, after the potatoes are about halfway done. I loved this soup. It was so good. If you want, you can add more potatoes, or if you've got some hot sauce or sriracha, you can hit it with that at the end. But it was really delicious, and it was maybe my favorite meal that I made. Okay, let's try it. It's intensely flavorful. I love this this broth, this vegetarian broth. It's perfect, like for the broccoli stalks that we had. Any kind of vegetables that you have left over that you only have a few, or parts of the vegetable that you wouldn't normally use, like the broccoli. This broth is perfect for that because you can just throw it in a pot along with some potatoes, and it's really good. Okay, now we're going to make beans and rice with cornbread. And I'm going to use the Jiffy corn muffin mix. Instead of using milk, I'm going to go ahead and use water. Rice and beans do make a complete protein, so this is a good meal. That's from 3 potatoes. And actually the potatoes are medium size, so that's not bad. I'm gonna get the water out of them and then fry them up in a pan. Okay, I'm gonna just put them in this dish towel. I'm gonna salt these before I fry them. I'll add a little garlic salt as well. Because we are a garlic salt loving family. That should be good. Okay, now we're going to add the potatoes. Put these in there. Probably could have gotten a little bit more water off, but it will evaporate in here as we fry it. Okay, so I went ahead and separated it into quarters just because it's easier to flip. Oh yeah, that's perfect. What? Oh, that one. Those look good. Okay, this bowl is not big enough. Normally I like to add a 1/4 cup of milk for when I'm going to scramble the eggs. Makes them a little fluffier, but I don't have milk, so I'm going to add the water. We need every last drop of egg. The hash browns were delicious. Okay, now we're going to make the baked chicken, and I've just cut up some potatoes to go along with it. The bird is cooked. Okay, so I've been picking off the meat off of the, when I cook the body of the chicken, I've been just picking off the meat where I can, and then I'm going to use this for my egg fried rice. Okay, so, I actually ended up taking this part off of the bottom of the breast, and there's quite a bit of meat in here. So I'm going to pick this off and put this in this, and then I wanted to show you. These are huge, huge breasts. So this is actually going to feed a lot more than 2 people. I mean, I'm assuming like 3 or 4, depending on how much your family eats. At least 3 though. Okay, I decided to go ahead and cut this up on the diagonal because it's going to look a lot better on the plate, and it will be easier. It will be easier to eat as well. That's a lot of meat. I only made enough potatoes to feed 2 people, but I did want to spread these out on the plate so you could see how many people it would feed. And looking at the picture now, I do think it would feed about 6 people if you had some children, because there's quite a bit of meat on each plate. Okay, now we're going to make egg fried rice. I'm going to put just shy of a 1/4 cup of water. Makes them a little fluffier. It adds a touch of volume. I'm going to salt the eggs directly so that when people get a bite of the egg, it'll be just right. Okay, I went ahead and dissolved some of the bouillon cubes into the water, and you want it well seasoned but not too salty, because we're going to actually use this to rehydrate some of the cold rice in the pan. Just using regular vegetable oil to start out with. Okay, I'm actually going to fry this up in 2 batches. I just find it works better to do 1 pan at a time. I'm going to cover it up for a minute until that all warms up. I don't think I'm going to add the garlic salt because the broth is salty and flavorful, and that's where we're going to get most of our flavor, and I don't want to over salt it. I'm going to make two or 3 pounds, so I'm going to go ahead and do my broccoli now. I'm going to add half the broccoli in. Let that cook for a minute. I'm going to hit the broccoli with a little sesame oil. This is where a lot of the flavor of this dish comes from. I absolutely love sesame oil. I think if you're eating on a budget, you know, when you're eating lots of rice and things like that, it pays to go ahead and purchase some sesame oil. Stir fries are about as cheap as you can eat anyway, and rice is so filling. I'm going to mix it all in again, and then we'll add our egg. Okay, so I just realized I put all of the eggs in and I'm actually just doing a half right now. They're looking perfectly fluffy. That's right. The way we want them. And I'm going to do a little bit more sauce. And then we're going to hit the sesame oil. I'm going to taste it to see if I need any more seasoning. Wow, that's really good. And that's done. Okay, here it is when it's done. I'm actually serving these in bowls of 2 cups. This recipe made 10.5 cups total. Okay guys, now I'm going to show you a really quick stir fry. It happens to be a family favorite of mine. We just start with some diced cubed potatoes, and you're going to add in the frozen corn. And the delicious part of this recipe is actually the corn, because when you fry it, it becomes a chewy texture, which is just really nice when you're eating it. You're going to add garlic salt, of course, and a little bit of pepper. And this is what the corn will actually start to pop a little bit when you cook it, but this is what makes it chewy. And I've used this recipe in many different ways. Here I'm going to add just a touch of the broccoli. I only have a little bit to use, but here it is at the end. You can also crack an egg in there, make a breakfast scramble, and add any kind of vegetable that you want. This is definitely, my kids love this. We do have enough potatoes and corn to make more than 7 servings. However, I am only counting this recipe for 7 servings. Okay, now we're going to make crispy burritos. These are so yummy and very easy to make. Okay, so I just took a masher and mashed these up. If you want to see how to do make your own refried beans, I actually have that in another video. How to eat like a foodie for $33 a week. And you can check that out. I'll put that in a link below. So these are pretty easy to make. This should make 8. Just wrap them up and fry them. You can make them as big as you want. Just make sure you've got enough beans to last for 8 of the shells. And that's it. We'll just put those in the pan. I like to fry mine crispy. I've always liked them like that. Obviously you can eat them, you know, with a soft shell. Just heat them up in the microwave, but I really like them like this. So we're going to take our salsa we got earlier. This is so good. This is the best salsa. And I like to eat a lot of salsa with my food, so put that in there. I'm hungry and I love this meal, so I'm excited to try this. Usually I add a little bit of cheese with the beans, and sometimes I actually add chopped onions, so we'll see. Should be delicious. Remember when I was growing up, my parents were too poor to buy food, and but every now and then they would buy the items for these, and my mom would make them, and it would be such a treat. Which is kind of funny because it's so cheap to make. I'm not sure why they didn't get them more. Basically for $2 you can make this and have a lot. That's good. Those flour tortillas are delicious. They're really flaky. And that salsa is so good. You guys should try that. I would have never tried that salsa had it not been for these challenges. I know it's my favorite. So let me know what you think. I had fun on this challenge. I'm not feeding a lot of children, so if I had a large family and I wanted to bulk up the meals a little bit more, like I would serve one of these maybe with some hash browns, or make some cubed potatoes and fry them up in the pan, and then that would be plenty of a meal for one person. But because I don't have to try to make it stretch, the $15 actually did provide 60 meals. That's good. But if I was trying to make it stretch more for a bigger family, I think what I would do is I would purchase one more beans, one more rice, and maybe another thing of tortilla shells. But basically for another $5 to $7, you could make these meals stretch to quite a few more people. So anyway, let me know what you think. If you like the video, please subscribe. And let me know what you want to see. I love challenges, so comment down below. And let me know what you think.